Hey, today I'm going to talk about AWS Chalice, which is a simple micro framework and a command line tool that lets you easily deploy a backend API to Amazon Web Services. Behind the scenes, it uses AWS Lambda, but Chalice kind of abstracts this all away from you and lets you just write an application using a very Python Flask style syntax, and it gives you a CLI for deploying that application. And its claim is that you can get a simple API up and running in less than 30 seconds. So let's build a simple API or backend using AWS Chalice. So let's go to the quick start and tutorial. As you can see here, it wants you to create a virtual environment and install the the Chalice Python package using pip. So I'm going to do that. So here you see I already have a directory for this project. I call it Trade Birdie because the application we're going to build is something that grabs all the tweets that mention particular stock symbols. So I'm in this directory. I've already created this application front end using create React app. So the directory is already there. So let's create the virtual environment for the Python backend. So I'm going to do virtual env and then venv. I already have virtual env installed, so I didn't need to do that. All I needed to do is to initialize a new virtual environment. So you see I have this directory called venv. So I just activate it and it's up. And then I'm going to install Chalice using the pip command. You'll see it gets all the dependencies, installs them automatically, and it's done. Next, it wants me to enter some AWS credentials so that it knows how to deploy the application. So you'll see I have a .aws directory under my home directory, and under there, there's some credential files. So in my credentials, my configuration has my secret access key and this access key and a region. And I've already entered that, and I'm not going to show that on the screencast, but you enter that and it just works. Next, it wants you to create a new project. So I'm going to do Chalice new project and then the name of my project. So I'm going to go in the source directory where all those JavaScript files are, and I'm going to do Chalice new project, and I'm going to call it API. And it creates a directory called API now. And if I go in here, I have this new directory. It has a Chalice directory with some configuration JSON, but the main part of it is this app.py. And you see it already has an example route that returns hello.world or hello world as JSON. And I'll just delete the rest of this stuff. And that's really a complete application, and you can actually deploy this right now using Chalice Deploy. So I'm going to type Chalice Deploy, and you'll see it creates a deployment package, creates REST API, and bam, it gives you a URL. And yeah, this API is running on AWS right now. It took very little time, and we already have some JSON being returned. So yeah, that was really quick and easy. There was no Docker containers to create. There wasn't any real server configuration that you had to do. We just generated a function and returned some JSON, and that's pretty much it. So now let's create something a little bit more useful. So let's create another function. I'm going to go back to my code editor, and I'm going to create an application that checks on stock quotes and gets tweets about those stock quotes, or the ticker symbols for those stocks in particular. So I'm going to create another route, and I'm going to call it my watch list. And if you hit the watch list endpoint, it will call a function that I call watch list, and it's going to return all the tweets about particular ticker symbols. So let's do that. I'm going to just mock out a response right now, hard code one. So I'm going to return a stream, and let's set stream equal to a dictionary, and then we'll just have some symbols. So the symbol Twitter will have a list of tweets. So Twitter tweet 1 and Twitter tweet 2. And then let's say Square, ticker symbol SQ, we'll have Square tweet 1 and Square tweet 2. Okay, and then we should be able to return that very easily as JSON. So let's give that a try. So let's deploy this again using Chalice Deploy and see if there's a watch list endpoint. So we already have this URL. And so let's go to /watchlist. Okay, and you see we got an internal server error. But what happened? I don't really know because nothing's really exposed here. So in this case, what we want to do, we want to go ahead and start working on this locally. So to run this API locally before deploying it, we use the Chalice Local command. So I'm going to type Chalice Local. And now we have a local host running at port 8000. So localhost 8000, and now it's running locally on my laptop. And now if I go to watch list here, I can actually look at my logs and see if something weird happened. So yeah, you see in my logs it says unhashable type dict. What that means is, yeah, look at the key that I use. The key is called stream, but stream is actually a dictionary here, so I needed to put that in quotes. So if I put that in quotes, it's just the key stream with the value of stream, which is this dictionary. And so that should reload automatically as soon as I hit save. And now if I refresh, you see I'm returning this stream structure that I expect. So let's try deploying that again just for fun. Make sure that goes up. And I refresh, we're already deployed to AWS, and we're returning some data.